Hello and welcome back to our DT revision. Now we're on to the 8th day. Let's get started. Okay, so on the 8th day of DT, my teacher sent to me 8 natural timbers. Now, as part of the GCSE DT course, in the certainly from the Edexcel perspective, and from OCR and AQA as well, they expect you to have a good understanding of all the different materials. So why not start off with 8 natural timbers? Okay, so what have we got straight off then? Again, what I'd expect you to be doing with this is creating a revision card on each one. I don't see it would be a good idea to sort of sketch each timber, because they all would sketch very similar. But in terms of the colour, you could certainly denote that and put a note to say what kind of colour they are. Mainly though, we're looking for their properties. That's the goal here. So we'll start off then with beech, which is this top one over here. Quite a golden looking colour. You can almost see why it's called beech, but that kind of looks a bit like a sandy beach on the shore. But this material is hard, it's tough, it's strong, it's close grained, which means all these lines of grain stay compact and close together, which gives it its strength. It is expensive, and it has a pinkish brown in its appearance, so you can almost see there it's almost a little bit pinky. Next on my list we've got our oak, which is very strong, but with that comes a weight to it, so it's often heavy. Solid oak furniture tends to be quite expensive as well, because it's strong and it's heavy. Mostly open grained though, with a light brown appearance. So as you can see here from my example, you can see that light brown there, and we can almost see the knots of the trees because of the openness to that grain, which makes it quite easy to sort of saw and cut through. Mahogany, a very hard wood, strong, easy to work with a fine grain. You can see these are really close together, and a reddish brown appearance. It's probably the most distinguished coloured, naturally coloured wood or timber we have on the list, and you can see it quite clearly a mix between this one and the other three that I have here. One other that's similar but it's not mentioned here is cherry, but we'll talk about that maybe another time. Next on the list is balsa, where you get like little model airplanes from that you can build and throw and use as gliders. It's very light and soft, which is a great strength to weight ratio, and comes in a pale cream and whitish appearance. Now you can see like that, looks a bit like cream crackers almost. That's how pale, and it pretty much has the same consistency. So it's quite soft, I suppose. Well, there you go, I did say it was soft anyway. But yeah, so there you go. So we've got our beech, our oak, our mahogany, and our balsa. The next 4 on our list, or 5, 6, 7, and 8, of course, is cedar. Which includes a chemical that, interestingly enough, that it makes it very durable, and essentially makes it waterproof or very much weather resistant. So you can see here we've got a little slice of cedar, which kind of looks just like any other wood or timber on our list, but we need to try and define them. So we can see we've got a nice little grain there. It's quite knotty, but the main point is it's very resistant to the weather, so you're not going to see this rotting away anywhere. It's going to keep its form. Scots pine next. Although most pines are very similar in honesty, but we have easy to work with, quite strong and lightweight, has a pale reddish colour to it, and this is one that we use in our school. Pine, not Scots pine of course, but we do use pine. There are other varieties like Purana pine, which is very difficult to work with and very dense, but essentially pines are fairly easy to work with the exception of something called Purana pine, which again, not something we need to worry about in our course. But if you wanted to go and research it, Purana pine is something to have a look at there. Next down the list we have our larch, which is tough and strong, easy to work with. It can resist rotting, but it is prone to splitting, so often you can find that when we're trying to work with this material, and we saw a little bit aggressively possibly, that our work can split more easily than maybe if we're using pine or cedar instead. Mainly yellow, but we can find it occasionally a bit more of a reddish sort of appearance. Don't really know what I'd use larch for over anything else, but it's certainly there as an option. And last on our list we have spruce, which has got a good strength to weight ratio again. Can have small knots in it, as you can see here, little tiny little knots that get in the way. Often found in a creamy white and pinky brown appearance. So again, looks kind of similar to, well, all of them I suppose, but if you're well versed in your timbers, you'll be able to say, well, it's kind of like pine, but it's got these tiny little knots that get in the way. Okay, so there you go. That's a quick one for you there. I'll just go back to this one just to touch on what we've gone through. We've gone through beech, oak, mahogany and balsa. And then we moved on to talk about cedar, Scots pine, larch and spruce. Now these are the 8 timbers that I think would probably be questioned on potentially in an exam. But what we're looking for is those material properties. So let's just split back very quickly. I'd like you to be able to identify that beech is hard, tough and strong. Oak is very strong. It's the only very strong timber we have on this list. Mahogany is hard and strong. Balsa is soft. So it's kind of the opposite as to what most of those are. Cedar is very durable. Scots pine is quite strong and lightweight. Larch is tough and strong. Spruce has good strength to weight ratio. Now that's what you need to be looking at in specifics. That's what you need to be focusing on. Those material properties, the durability, how easy it is to work with, its strength. And it can get quite tricky because you can go, well, all timbers are strong. Well, that's not true. Beech is, oak is, mahogany is, balsa not strong in the slightest. So they're the material properties I'd say to start focusing on. Maybe even if you're going to write this out as I've written it, or similar like I put here, you could write beech, hard, tough, and then you could use a highlighter to highlight those to help you memorize them. Okay, let's finish off there then. So what have we learned in today's session? We've covered a range of timbers. Our DT teacher sent to me on the 8th day 8 natural timbers, and we've looked at beech, oak, mahogany, balsa, larch, spruce, pine, and I nearly forgot the last one. What was the last one? Cedar. So there we are. There we have it. Use your post-it notes, use your revision cards to help revise those different types of timbers. And in the end day, not to give you too many clues, but on the 12th day there might be an exam or a quiz. So get revising, practicing, and we'll see how good you are on the 12th day. Until next time, stay safe. Bye now.